Twitch made a huge announcement. Huge, like really awesome announcement just a few days ago. Talking about the enhanced broadcasting beta. In this blog post, they talk about transcoding, which for those who don't know what that means, bottom right corner of your of a stream that you're watching, you can adjust the quality settings, right? You can watch on whatever the max quality is that the streamer has, or if you're on your phone, you're probably watching at a lower quality. And it's a really, really, really cool thing for, making your stream more accessible. Now, the caveat is Twitch doesn't give transcoding options to everyone. If you reach a certain viewer threshold, then you may get access to transcodes. If you're a Twitch partner, you're guaranteed access to transcodes. But obviously, like, everyone wants that access because, again, it makes your stream more accessible. And if you don't have access, you probably have to cap the quality of your stream, because if you're running a stream at 4K, then people on their phone have no chance of watching. Twitch is unveiling a partnership with NVIDIA and OBS to provide options for creators to be able to allow access to different quality settings for their stream. So here to talk with us today is Epos Vox, which I'm gonna get on, and this is gonna work on the first try. I know it's gonna happen. Here we go. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Things are working. Yes. So first of all, how bad am I butchering your name right now?
Better than most people.
Okay.
Usually people swap the S for an X and they say Epox Vox, and I'm like, that first X isn't even there. But usually it's like Epos Vox. So.
Okay, Epos, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the stream. It's so good to have you.
Yeah.
Why don't you introduce yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Hi, I'm a YouTuber, content creator, teacher, tech person. I've been teaching streaming in OBS for about 11 years now. Started way back in the OBS Classic days, and DX Story, if anyone remembers those times. And so my primary job, I guess, is teaching OBS, live streaming, content creation, video editing, that kind of stuff. And then I do a whole bunch of stuff on the side. But yeah.
Yeah,
and despite that being my job, this is the first time I've used Guest Star because reasons.
Actually, it's called Streaming Together now, so get with the program.
See, they go and named it, change. I still call it Justin TV if that's fine.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring you on because you are super, super passionate about this stuff. Can you break down what exactly Twitch announced a few days ago for streamers?
Yeah, so I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but the awkward thing that I think caused the most confusion is that Twitch and NVIDIA kind of announced different things for the same thing. And I think that's where people are getting their wires crossed. So NVIDIA is very hyped, obviously, as I have my AV1 hat off screen, as the person who's hyped up AV1 for like 4 years now. I am a participant in it, but like they're very hyped on the fact that their new generation of cards have AV1 encoders, as does AMD and Intel. But they're pushing the new technology, and that's what they are excited for. So they're like, yeah, Twitch is finally rolling out this update, just like YouTube did, where we can stream AV1 and higher, quality codecs and all of this stuff. And we're going to do 4K streams. But Twitch, on the other hand, is like, well, we're really just overhauling our stream pipeline first, and then we'll get to that.
Yes.
And so the feature is, I assume, because you were talking about it when I got joined in, the feature is called enhanced broadcasting. And what it actually is effectively a new pipe from you, the streamer, to Twitch. And so it is an update to the protocol that everyone streams to Twitch and YouTube and most other websites with, called RTMP. It's called enhanced RTMP, and it is just like the HTTP in front of your website URLs. It is just a protocol that video and audio are sent back and forth between the server that then shoots it out to everyone else and the streamer. And it is an update to it that allows for multiple video tracks. So the Twitch VOD track, where people use it to have different music and stuff live versus in their VODs, that is multiple audio tracks. You are sending two completely different streams of audio between you and Twitch for those different purposes. This is similar in that it sends multiple different video tracks.
Okay.
And with that, and with the OBS update, it is going to allow you with your graphics card The beta is going to be NVIDIA, but it'll be everyone, to encode what's called an encoding ladder of all the different, well, not all of them, but a bunch of the different formats you typically see with Twitch transcoding. So you'll have your primary, whatever your source format probably is, so like 1080p. And then you'll also say encode a 720p 30 copy and a 360p for mobile streamers or something. And in doing so, you're able to provide higher quality for those lower transcodes, because typically you send your full 1080p copy to Twitch and then they
Right.
use their services to break that down into the smaller formats, which at the speed they have to do it in the cloud, and to do it to so many viewers and whatever, adds a fair bit of latency, although Twitch is still lower latency than YouTube, but like latency is still
Yeah.
a concern. And it is not super great quality in a lot of cases. Whereas
And
this,
not accessible to everyone.
yes. And that is the second problem. The first problem, well, I guess that is the primary problem, is that not everyone gets it. Now, I feel like weirdly with this announcement that it's kind of underplayed how easy it is to get transcoding, but there are a lot of smaller channels out there that just don't get it at all,
Just a
even if they
few
have decent
million.
viewership. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are just like, well, all you gotta do is get 3 viewers to get transcoding. That's not really true. It depends very heavily on where you are. Like in my
Yeah.
region, even like as soon as they rolled out transcoding to affiliates, the affiliate program wasn't even technically out yet. I started getting it day one and basically have had it every stream. But I know plenty of people who have been even affiliate who have never gotten it because their region or whatever is so congested with other streamers that they just don't get resources allocated to them. So not everyone gets it. And so the strategy for a long time has been to just do like a low bitrate stream and forget quality, because you want to reach those mobile viewers, because that's where most people are.
Right.
You want to reach everyone possible, but then of course you're sacrificing quality and all these things. So there's a lot of problems with that. There's all the costs that Twitch is supposedly struggling with
Yep.
Korea and the
Clearly.
layoffs,
Yeah.
and like I'm always torn because there's so many companies that announce layoffs and all these things while they're reporting record profits. So I don't really know, what that looks like. But supposedly
Right.
costs are a very big deal for Twitch right now. So this, in a way, helps that, because clearly they have struggled to scale ever since they announced transcoding for affiliates to really roll it out to everyone.
Right.
Because I mean, that is a lot of server hardware for all the people that are streaming, even if you're just streaming to one or two viewers, to roll up the resources to convert your stream to a bunch of different formats for those one or two viewers and make it available. It eventually builds up to a lot. A lot of people
Yeah.
focus on bandwidth. It's not really about like the bandwidth, it's about the processing power, I'm pretty sure. Some of this is speculation. So there's a bunch of problems here with Twitch's current pipeline, and one of those is, yes, quality. Like we have our 6 to 8 megabit per second bitrate cap. You can only squeeze so many pixels in that for a fast-paced game stream, and eventually it starts looking kind of chunky.
Mm-hmm.
But that is honestly not the immediate priority for Twitch. Right now, obviously, this is going to be in beta. They have told me it's a very slow beta. Like, they are inviting a few people at a time to really make sure all of this is stable before they start getting a bunch of people doing it, because this is a completely different workflow. Because
Right.
I mean, they've had effectively, there's been backend changes, but like they've effectively had the same streaming pipeline and workflow since day one. You fire up OBS or Flash Media Encoder back in the olden times, and you send your video feed to them, and they do all the rest. Like, that has not changed. This is the first time we're really getting a big change for anyone but major events. And so they are taking their time to make sure they see all the data of what are viewers most watching. Like, they are very focused on those lower end mobile formats because they have enough viewers there for it to matter. Whereas
Right.
the streamers like the sexy talk of the 4K, the 1440p or whatever, but like most of the viewers aren't watching that. It's the streamers that care about that. And
Right.
so they are trying to make sure the pipeline is stable and make sure that they can bring all of the benefits to those lower end viewers before they start pushing it higher. So you are going to be able to open up OBS. They're going to give you a beta. It's going to be a portable build, and you're basically going to have a checkbox like the one that says uh, match stream service recommendations or whatever, that most people uncheck so they can push the bit rate a little higher. It's going to be like that box, but it's basically just going to say, obviously I haven't seen it yet, but from what I've been told, it's basically just going to say use enhanced broadcasting. And what
Mm-hmm.
that is going to do is it's going to ping Twitch's server, and it's going to analyze your computer, your bandwidth, all of your network connection at that point in time. So even if you have a crappy internet connection, it's going to decide, okay, this is what you can handle. And if that's only one stream, that's fine. A lot of people are freaking out. They're like, I have really crappy internet. I can't push multiple streams. I can't use this. It's just going to determine the best settings for whatever you have. And if that's only one stream, That's fine. And
Okay.
then if you have the bandwidth, if you have the processing power, if you have whatever, it's going to be like, all right, well, you've got, say, since Nvidia's the one kind of pushing this at the moment, say you've got the RTX 4080 and you've got gigabit fiber, then they're like, okay, you can do a 1080p stream, a 720p stream, and a 480p or whatever. And it's just
Right.
going to handle it all for you. You don't got to choose any encoder settings. You don't got to type in any custom flags. None of that. You just choose it and it just does it. And so that's one of the other benefits is you don't need 50 million YouTube videos about Twitch best settings over and over every 6 months.
Look at you
Um,
making your job easier. There you go.
yeah,
What are
yeah.
the best
They're just
stream
putting me out of a
settings?
job.
There's a
Yeah.
button.
Yes. No.
So, so it requires like basically having a decent internet connection, and it's going to rely on GPU streaming, right? Like
Yes.
off
So
NVIDIA. Is it only NVIDIA cards that are going to be able to do this?
and and that's where between all of the problems that it's trying to solve and that like this is why everyone's so confused. And so I've been trying to like make sure it's clear. So for this initial beta, they are at least prioritizing, if not only accepting, people who have NVIDIA GPUs.
Right.
We
Which
can
makes sense.
assume
They're
based
working with NVIDIA
yeah,
on this.
yeah, like
So,
this and people get pretty mad at it and like I get it, but like for the past what 6 years now, ever since the new NVINC stuff came out, like Nvidia's been the one kind of putting the money and the engineering kind of oomph ahead of
yeah,
things to get
like
streaming there.
caring
That's how
about
they
streaming. Yeah.
yeah, like that's how they claw up market share. When they started doing this, AMD did not care about streaming whatsoever. They do now, like that's fine, but like Nvidia's been the one doing this. In the
Mhm.
initial first phase of the beta here at least, yeah, it's going to be Nvidia RTX only, so 20 series up. But long term, as long as you have some sort of graphics card encoder or hardware accelerated encoder, so that's going to be AMD, Intel, even your iGPUs, you'll be able to use it.
Gotcha.
And then to get the full multi-track thing going, yes, you will need fast internet. But to just use the feature and have your settings optimized for you, you don't. Like you can just replace your normal stream output and it'll be fine.
So
Um,
this is essentially for people who currently don't have quality settings. This will allow their stream to be more accessible. Are there any benefits for people who maybe like me, like are a Twitch partner and have those guaranteed settings? Are there other possibilities with this technology, with this beta?
yes. So short term, maybe not. Like right now, like they've even said, like, hey, partners, you're still going to have transcoding. You're not forced to use this. Which
Yeah.
also kind of addresses the concern. A lot of people are like, well, only partners are going to get into this beta or whatever. I don't even think they're worried about partners for this
Yeah.
because partners already get it. Um, but if you did want to play with it, you you will get the advantage of those lower quality tiers will most likely be lower latency and higher quality because you're getting it straight from your encode instead of you're encoding it, sending it to Twitch. Twitch is then compressing it and sending it back out to the viewer. There is a
Okay.
latency step there, and it's typically lower quality versus just feeding the quality that like with compression, there's this thing called generational loss, which means every step that you recompress it, it gets worse because if you're already taking a blocky feed and compressing it again, it's compressing those blocks even
Right.
further. And so each one of those quality settings that you're sending out with a new feature is coming from your raw gameplay where it's not compressed. So those lower settings are going to be a lot higher quality than they were if Twitch was just
Mm,
compressing what you already sent them. So
gotcha.
it's going to be subtle for especially for partners that are used to having transcoding. Like at first it's probably going to be subtle and like not a big deal. But then long term they will be working to figure out what they need and what is best for everyone in terms of increasing bitrate caps so that you can get better source
Mm,
quality.
the
And then
50,000 bitrate
eventually
cap, like YouTube.
maybe not that high. But then eventually unlocking things like AV1 and 1440p or 4K streaming and things like that. I don't think we're going to see it up front. There's a couple OBS devs that have been playing with it, but I don't think in this initial beta we're going to see much of that because they're just trying to make sure that the pipe between you and Twitch with all these tracks even works in the first place on a bigger scale. Um, but when it comes to bitrate like that, I want people to not have unrealistic expectations because you see YouTube, having basically unlimited data caps or whatever, but that's because you kind of need it because they recompress everything. There is no source
Mm,
quality on Twitch or on YouTube. Sorry, there is no source quality on YouTube. So you can send 50 megabits per second to YouTube, but they're squishing it all down. So what I am anticipating is that once this is fully rolled out and people have advantage of it or whatever, people who can only stream 6, 8, 10 megabits per second are going to have substantially better quality on Twitch than YouTube because they can just send that source quality even for the lower copies, and even be it in AV1 or in normal H.264, and your viewers will just play what you're sending, whereas that same bitrate fed through YouTube gets compressed again and thus will be lower quality. So this is the long tail, and I don't have. We're probably looking at the next year to test this out unless things just go amazingly well.
Mm.
But like long term, I think Twitch will start looking better than YouTube because there are so many people who they can stream the 6 or 8 megabits per second for Twitch, but they cannot go higher. And so they're
Yeah.
not getting any advantage from YouTube.
Yeah.
And so,
So, um, there's been a lot of talk about AV1, and
yes.
so Dan Clancy mentioned in an interview with Harris Heller that AV1 was something that they were working on. Does this put us closer? And for those who don't know, like what is AV1? Why do we even care? For like a typical streamer, without getting too far into it, because I've seen your 30-minute videos on this.
All right,
what
let's
does
sit here
that
for the next
mean?
3 hours. Yeah, so AV1 is a video codec. So a codec is the type of compression you're using for your video. For the past 20 years, for most of your stuff, you've been using H.264. That is the codec that came up in the early 2000s that we streamed to Twitch, we've streamed to
We're
Facebook,
using it
YouTube,
right
whatever
now.
before. We're using it right now. It's what most of your Discord calls and stuff are going to be using. But it's getting old. It was meant for like 480p video and kind of sort of updated for HD, but like not, it's getting old. And AV1 is a new codec that was built with funding from basically every company on the internet. We're talking Apple, Twitch, Microsoft, Nvidia, AMD, like everyone is invested in this open organization because the previous updates, the attempts to make a new codec after H.264, everyone saw the money in it and put up a bunch of patents and licensing agreements and
Mm.
stuff and made them kind of dead on the water for bulk live streaming because it costs too much money. Whereas AV1 is this open source royalty free project where no one really has to pay to use it, but it's way, way, way more efficient than H.264. We're talking you can get the same quality for like a fourth of the bit rate.
Oh wow, a fourth of the bit rate.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Depends on
significant.
content, depends on circumstances,
Right.
but yeah, like we are talking, and I have a live stream. I have a video up on my channel where we did live streams whenever YouTube first rolled out AV1 streaming, and like even at 500 kilobits per second, pushing 1440p, like it doesn't look amazing, but it looks watchable, and it looks like Twitch looked like 4 or 5 years ago at
Mm.
500 kilobits per second. So everyone's saying, "Oh, I have really crappy internet." This is what's going to help you. Um, and so it's just a new open source codec that's way, 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 way more efficient than H.264. But the trade off for that is that it's very, very hard to do. Like H.264 at this point is accelerated by every piece of your computer and your phone and your TVs and whatever because it's been out so long. AV1
The
is
hardware just doesn't support it yet,
right.
like widespread.
And
Is what
so,
you're saying.
And so we've been getting over the past few years more support for it. The last generation of NVIDIA, AMD, and everyone else's graphics cards supported decoding for it, which means playing it back. And then this latest generation finally supports hardware accelerated encoding it, creating it. And there will still be
Okay.
some trade-offs, like running it on your processor is better quality than on your graphics card, but basically no one can do it on their processor, which is why Twitch isn't even like gonna consider it.
Father, yeah.
But that's why it's such a big deal. Is you can either get tons more quality for the stream you're sending to Twitch already, or you can back up the bitrate that you're sending to Twitch for the same quality, which
Mm.
then further benefits this idea of sending a bunch of different qualities without even needing to up the bitrate sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge for, streamers who don't have that good internet, that good upload speed to be able to actually, stream an FPS or something.
Right.
So we're seeing quality improvements from two different points. So we have the enhanced broadcasting. This is, with using OBS and using NVIDIA to, be able to control from your side the quality that goes out. And then that reduces the number of steps that, like you mentioned, compression can happen. But on the other hand, you also have the AV1, which isn't out yet and isn't, I don't think, out with this beta, but is on the horizon with the modern graphics cards that are coming out, being able to also improve quality. And again, this is all about making your stream more accessible. You want more viewers, you need your streams to be more accessible. You need people to be able to watch on their phone and be able to tell what's going on without it looking like a blurry mess, right? So there's kind of two different components here where we're actually seeing for the first time in a while, I think, an advancement in streaming technology and an advancement for Twitch, which is a huge win for them.
Yeah, we've been asking for this for years, and that accessibility factor is why this whole multi-track beta thing is required to get us to AV1, because not everyone will be able to play it back. Like the ability to play it back is getting more widespread, but
Yeah.
Twitch is always trying to consider everyone. And so when we get to the point that Twitch is going to roll out the ability to start using the new codec, you're going to be sending basically both copies of your stream, the AV1 copy and the H.264 copy. That way, the people who can't play it back, because it's not even supported on all browsers right now either.
Mm,
And so the people who can't see it aren't just going to get an error being like, oh, you can't play the video, but they also don't have to start converting your stream for you, because that would defeat the whole point, because they're trying not to do that. So it's this weird, like, ladder of, like, we're going to make an advancement, but then it's going to stall for a little bit, make an advancement, stall for as we like build up towards it. I am hoping by end of year we'll start seeing it, because it's already streamable. Like I said, there's been some OBS devs and stuff that can stream it right now, which means they have the back end support to do it. It's just a matter of getting this program out and the OBS beta stable and all of that, so that it is more feasible and they pick up whatever issues happen along the way.
awesome. Well, this is super, super exciting. And I appreciate you breaking it down for us. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, on this subject? Anything for streamers out there that is a big takeaway for them to consider when, planning their goals and thinking about, their stream?
I think for me, like, obviously, especially since partners will still have access to transcoding, like, this is an optional thing, at least for now. But there are a lot of people who are like, well, I'm just gonna stick with what I know and like try to get the best quality on this one stream or whatever. But I think this for Twitch is them basically taking away the quality barrier, in terms of there's no point in, like, once this is out, there's no point in stressing about quality anymore. Like, once you get to this point, Twitch is literally going to configure it for you and then distribute it however they think is best for your viewers, and you can just focus on making good content, because there are so many people. And I know I'm saying this as the guy that helped people like learn this stuff, but at this point I've always for the past couple years I've been saying it too, but like, just stop worrying about quality once this rolls out, let the auto configuration do its thing, and just focus on making entertaining content. Because as the data from Twitch apparently keeps showing, most people aren't watching your source quality anyway, so they're not seeing whatever little extra things you're adding in to try to min max it. They're just seeing you. And if you're so obsessed, like blinders on, about removing every pixel block from your stream and not just being entertaining or having, fun, they're still gonna turn away, even if you have crisp, perfect streams.
Yeah. I mean, this definitely really levels the playing field
Yes.
for creators. So, that bar for quality has been rising since streaming has become more mainstream. So it's nice to kind of see an equalizer where creators can
Yes.
really just, again, focus on standing out on their own merits and not being like, oh, well, my internet sucks, so I guess I can't do this. And so, yeah, no, that's very, very exciting. Thank you so much for coming on and explaining that. You nailed it. So yeah. If y'all want to watch a more in-depth video about this, Epos has put out a video on his YouTube channel. If the mods could link it up, that's much more in-depth, going into the nuances of this and also NVIDIA's other announcements that they have released. And if you'd like to plug your stuff, I'll leave it to it.
Yeah, I'm EPOS VOX pretty much everywhere. Glitch.mov is my shop where you can buy cool stuff. But yeah, I mean, there was some other cool stuff announced at TS. Obviously, it's still going on, but that was kind of the big one. And getting that extra information from Twitch kind of took over my focus, because we don't care that much about new graphics cards. Like, it's fine. So there was a cool new G-Sync feature, but otherwise, it's like, this is exciting. It was immediately kind of the excitement dampened by the layoffs, and I'm hoping that even though no one's job is more or less important than the other necessarily, but like, I'm hoping, for the sake of the stability of the platform, I guess, especially with morale being where it is, I'm hoping the team working on this isn't hit too hard, because it's going to be a big problem to get this rare Twitch W and then have it kind of stall because they laid off people involved in it. So we'll see. I don't.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. I
it's always
mean,
a give and a take with Twitch.
it really is. In the same week too.
Yeah, back to back. Just.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And I will be sure to, bother you at any point when they have new updates about this, because you do a much better job
Absolutely.
of explaining this than I do.
I will be getting in to try it out this week, hopefully, if they get it activated. I've already been talking to them, and so I will
Ooh,
be poking all the buttons and trying to break it.
awesome. Well, take care, eBoss. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that was great. I almost thought that I wasn't even gonna have to ask any questions, because like eBoss was just like nailing all the explanations. But yes, please go check out his YouTube channel. He does a lot of really great, informative streamer content. And again, a lot more tech focused than I am. So I watch his videos to get the breakdown, so that I can actually like pay attention to the tech side. Because like when it comes to tech and hardware, I'm just like, my eyes glaze over. Like talking about anything else, I could talk about marketing, social media, networking, all these other facets. But then I'm like tech, I'm like, ugh, ugh. So yeah, always great to chat with him. And I'm trying for the stream, trying to have like do more interviews. So we're starting out the first stream of 2024 doing an interview. Awesome. So that we could just get more perspective. So if you missed any part of that interview, you want to rewatch it, I will be posting it on my YouTube channel, and talking about the, I mean, I was gonna like add more stuff about the announcement, but I mean, he did such a good job. But yeah, really, really exciting. Honestly, I in terms of the layoffs, I don't expect any, like, I would be surprised if anyone in that area got affected, because this is huge. Like, this is a technological advancement for live streaming, and it wouldn't make sense for them to slow this down in any capacity. So I don't anticipate that area getting affected by the layoffs. It is definitely a weird week. This was announced on January 8th, so this was their announcement, and here we are 2 days later talking about 500 layoffs, or 35% of the workforce. So this was posted, I think Dan Clancy signed this. Yeah, he signed this this blog post that we had started to go into, basically talking about what transcodes means, why it's important. I have to update our Streamer Square courses now, because literally part of that is like I made like a I think it was like a TikTok, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, that was like, hey, all these streamers who have like 2 viewers with trying to stream at 1080p, like, it does not make sense, because you're not having access to quality options. If you don't get quality options, then you're forcing everyone to watch a 1080p 5000 6000 bitrate, and that's leaving out a lot of people. You can actually see how many people watch your stream from mobile if you go into your analytics. Now they've moved everything around, so I have to think about where they've put it. Okay, here we go. Found it. This is from today's stream, so not all the data's come through. I can go to like a previous stream, and you can actually see, this is through your stream summary. You can see what people use to watch your stream. So like 60% are watching on desktop, but I mean, we have like a third of my audience watching mobile. I mean, that's huge. A third of my viewers discovery views by platform. Viewers discovery. Okay, let's go. Let me back it up here. Go live to, oh, it keeps going down. Views by platform. Okay, cool. So I can go to discovery and go, okay, let's look at the last 30 days, right? It's like, there's like a weird gap, but you can see who's new. Views by platform, consistent, 33%, 40% actually, even higher. 40% of views. So not necessarily like, you know, viewers watching, but I don't know what they define as like a view, but 40% coming from mobile. That's a lot of discovery, a lot of people checking in on mobile. So right now, if you stream at 6000 bitrate, 1080p, and you do not have quality options, and you can very easily figure out if you have quality options. When you're streaming, load your stream up and check in here, bottom right corner, right? You see this little toggle, settings, quality. If you are a smaller streamer, you might not have this. And if you don't have this, it's hard for people to watch at 1080p. They don't get to choose, oh, my internet sucks, I'm on mobile, I need to watch at 360p. They don't have this option. So that's why this is such an exciting development, because if you have the internet and the hardware, it doesn't matter if you have 2 viewers. So, I mean, this really affects this. I mean, this does not affect me. This does not affect partners. Now, here's some fun speculation, because I love to speculate. I mean, that's what we do here on the channel, right? Twitch could incentivize streamers, like partners and bigger streamers, to stream with this enhanced streaming thing, to basically put all the work on the streamer with some sort of like financial incentive. Because, and I'm sure this has been clipped in I believe in Harris Heller's interview with Dan Clancy said that I mean, they were talking about AV1 encoding, so they weren't talking about this specific thing, but they were talking about the profits, right? The cost cutting profits or money being saved should be passed on to the creators, right? What if you could get a 70-30 split if you did this method of streaming? What if you got you know, more ad revenue, or you know, just straight up like a kickback or something? I've heard someone say almost exactly the same. Partners giving away their guaranteed transcoding allowance in exchange of better splits. Yeah, like I personally like, unless you can handle it and you're like very curious, I mean, there's not much incentive for streamers to be like, oh yeah, I want to do all the work on my computer now. Especially me. I mean, I need some computer updates. Which, I mean, you know, you should honestly help me get a better computer so I can test this for you, because I give good feedback.